everybody, welcome to the channel for new battle report. I play another practice game, this time against Orcs and Goblins. It was one of the players from Team Germany that we face in the 8 against 8 practice round, and he accepted to play a practice game against me, so really happy to get more training against Orc and Goblin. That is still a new book for me and I still don't know them really well, so it's important that I get enough game against them. My list remains more or less the same, I think you know most of it. My opponent was playing the following list, so like I said, a good occasion for me to get to know the book better, and this is also seen here in the fact that I try to prepare the game and read the book and try to get more understanding about which unit does what, which doesn't mean that I'm going to keep everything in mind or have a look at this sheet during the battle because I often forget about it, but before the battle it's a good occasion for me to read it, write down some things, try to keep them in mind, and I think it's something that you could also do in your game when you're feeling that you don't know well a book. I would recommend you to try to prepare when you can and have a look at the book. I think it's a good way to learn gradually more and more about an army book. So this was basically his list. You have a couple of chaff pieces that I highlighted as usually in green. The scoring unit are 3 big unit or 2 big unit, 1 bunker, and the cavalry boss that could have will have the warlord in it. He had another grunter character which was a loner that we see also quite often with a 1-up rollable. He's stubborn, so it's a good piece. He had a wizard adept on a wyvern, also something that we see usually, a master thaumaturgy. And then other than that, some support pieces, so as you can see, small unit of troll, chariot, giant and wrecking team. We were playing Surging Tide and Breaking Flag, and I elected to pick basically all range damage spell. I felt I wanted to try that out in this game and see how it goes. I didn't feel really the need to get like Rot Within due to the weapon skill of both, so I felt let's try that out. And I think interesting to point out for him, I didn't pick the Wrath of God, which surprised me a bit, but other than that, also I think the Swarm of Insect would have been quite interesting for the Kadim Titan. So I think here we can question some of the choices. I understand the interest to have Hereditary and then End of Heaven and Trial of Face are obviously scary for the single models. But at the same time, yeah, Wrath of God I think has some interest, and here I would have probably swapped the Savage Fury, but I think the main reason behind this is the fact that he wanted to have the scarification accessible with 2 spells if he go into combat with the Wyvern, which I can understand. Matchup analysis. So he has a lot of threats on the table, 2 big blocks, 3 cowboys, a lot of support unit, multiple chaff. My single model are stronger than his. So Kadim Titan and the Overlord I think are stronger than his cowboys and giant and stuff like that. So I think that's something that goes in my favor. The secondary, I think he could play the drop game to see where I go, because he has so many units that he can drop before really dropping important stuff. So he could play on that. I want to create here a configuration where we don't face too frontal each other. I think I need a bit of time to reduce the size of his block to make them to a manageable size for me. I think that's the key factor in the game here, and also try to reduce the amount of unit that he has, maybe killing some support unit, and last but not least, to take advantage from footprint. I think that's also something that comes in mind here. I have a smaller footprint than his, so I can also play on that to reduce a bit his potential to be aggressive. I think it's quite open matchup, maybe slightly in his favor, but I think it should be playable for me. So deployment wise, I think he won the roll for side and gave me bottom. Or did I? I think I win the roll for side. Yeah, I won the roll for side this time. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I won the roll for side. I took bottom, which I felt slightly better. I didn't want him to have the possibility to take advantage from the wall early on and then be more or less immune to my blunderbuss shot. So I felt the bottom is more interesting for me. And then after that, he elected to let me start for first turn. I wanted to exchange a couple of drops or see if he would drop afterwards. I completely forgot one thing, is that on Surging Tide you cannot drop for first turn after you drop the first drop. So I made that mistake, dropping the fast cav. He dropped something like the Gnashers, and then I told him I want to drop for first turn, but obviously it was too late. So interesting, I already learned something after a couple of seconds in this game. So we exchanged his drop, and I ended up with the +1, and I won the roll to start. So didn't change a lot at the end, but still a risk for me to not starting and showing him my entire deployment. So something to keep in mind for future times. I dropped the Cannon Titan on the left, Bastion, we have here the Blunderbuss that are going to try to play with this wall, the Overlord on the right, the Lugar Brick, Anointed, and here a small unit of Vassal Levies, obviously targeting this small part here to get breakthrough. He has the Grotling that scouts, the Wrecking Team, Wyvern, Giant, the block of Feral that is not BSB, the block of Feral with BSB is here in the middle, a Chariot, Troll, the Rabble with the Thaumaturgy Mage. Here he has the big unit of Marauders with the General in it, and the Loners right here, and here he vanguarded the fast cav. So let's start with my turn 1. I push on the right flank, so as you can see, I play with this house to have a lot of density and a strong right flank. So I'm pushing on the right flank, pushing on the left as well, not allowing him to move out of arc, so trying to apply pressure here, and we will see what he does. I mean, he cannot leave the Cannon Titan alone, and like I said, the Loner is a bit alone, is not going to go through my Titan. So we will need to have a look at that, and that's going to be annoying for him to deal on the left flank. I start to move my Overlord towards the left. I felt I misdeploy him slightly. Should have started down the middle and be able to move either towards the left or the right part of the map. But starting here on the right didn't do that much. I felt would have been better off slightly more middle left. So I start to redeploy him, and the rest just move forward, trying to take the hill. In magic phase, get breast weapon, kill 2 feral. And with the bow shot, I'm going to kill another one and place an incendiary token. He's turn 1, so he identified that the right flank is going to be my strong part of the map, so he moves back with the Grotling, move the Wrecking Team, so he prepares some chaffs on the right. The Wyverns stay hidden for the moment, doesn't want to take any shooting, and here as well, he respects my shooting range and stays a bit far away. Left flank, he starts to prepare some traps for the Titan, so he puts the Gnasher behind the wall. If I charge, he has 2 units to counter charge me and 2 Lords, so that would be too much for me, obviously. Unluckily for him, he panicked the dogs, so he marched through the forest to try to come here to the side, but he lost 3 of them, which makes panic check on 8 rollable that he fails, so he started to flee. The closest unit was the Titan, so he had to flee this direction. So yeah, not so cool for him to flee with the chaff. That could have allowed him to get into good position next turn. In the magic phase, he failed hereditary. He made a trial of face on my Overlord that did nothing at the end. So yeah, lucky me this time. But I will need to be aware of that. It's also one of the reasons why I want the Overlord to move out of the zone. Turn 2, I continue to push with the Lugars, take the hill, have rollable charge range, start getting into good position. Right side, I prepare the Vassal that could be in position to intercept the Wrecking Team if I need to. I think that's quite important. I also prepare the Anointed that have good line of sight in case he wants to go out with the Giant. I could easily charge him. And here I stay on the wall. My chaff stays in the back, trying to get some shots on the fleeing cav. Maybe I can make him half leadership. Here on the left, I passed the march check. So if I wouldn't have passed, I could have played. It was impossible to make potentially charge very hard for him and not be too much at risk. But it's even better if I pass the march, which I did. I was able to move out of the situation. And basically he can charge me, but it's not too dangerous. And the cavalry could also charge me. But as you can see, only 1 model base contact. So not great at all for him. And moving the Overlord closer also means I can give leadership to the Titan, which is quite important for future March test and other tests. In Magic Phase, Gravecall 4 dice gets dispelled with 4 dice as well. And then I failed the breast weapon with double 2, which is the worst result for the breast. So not so good, but at least I got Pentagram that did 1 wound to the Wrecking Team. So not so crazy Magic Phase until now. Only kill like 3 of the Ferals, I think. Yeah, not so good. And those guys here kill another cavalry guy, but will not matter that much. He's turn 2. He starts pushing forward with the BSB unit. On the left flank, he plays the Gnasher as chaff in front of the Titan. They are fearless, which is quite cool for chaff piece. And basically still the same, if I charge, I get then double counter charge by all these guys. He rallied the dogs, which is nice. He moved the thaumaturgy guy out of the unit alone, tried to get some spells on my overlord, which is small risk because he can get a pentagram by my bastion, but at the same time it could be interesting for him to get out the overlord. Like I said, in combat it's not so easy for him, so his main answer will be with range damage. That's why he picked also a Trial of Face and End of Heaven. He moved towards the center with a Wyvern, and the rest stays a bit where he was, and he moved again back. I think he identified that I could jump on him with the vassals, so he just moved back with the Grotling and the Wrecking Team waiting for me to push forward. In his magic phase, I Binding Scroll End of Heaven, doesn't want the Overlord to suffer too much, and then luckily for him, he got Trial of Face with 3 dice against my 5 dice. I think, to be honest, the right call would have been to dispel End of Heaven and to bind a Trial of Face that is more dangerous, I feel. But luckily for me, he didn't do anything with Trial of Face, so at the end it didn't matter that I wasn't able to dispel with 5 dice, and he got -1 resilience on the Titan just in case I would charge. My turn 3. So I start to put pressure now. I use my chaff to chaff the BSB Feral, the Chariot as well. The Troll are not chaffed. And then I'm able to push the Torque Anointed in a position where nobody can charge me. It's not also possible to chaff me. So I felt that's a nice position for the Anointed that see a lot of stuff. I'm able to reform those guys in case I would need them later, and they could also potentially add something. I had a debate if I would charge or not. Could have a long charge here, but I felt he still has too many models, and the giant was just too far away for me, and I think I wouldn't fit here in between. Not sure about that, but this feels way too long, so I think it's not yet that I could have taken charge with the Lugars. And I pushed all the blunderbuss, basically. My aim will be now to target magic and shooting on those guys to reduce like 15 of them, and then they cannot engage me anymore. He could charge me with the Troll. The only unit that could have an overrun into those guys would be the Troll, so I'm okay with that. And then I move away with the Titan and the Overlord, leaving him with long charges, feeling okay. What I completely forgot is the fact that the Gnashers are flying, so they can fly and charge me here in the flank. My intention was to break the straight line, that those guys cannot charge the Titan, but completely forgot that he could charge me with a flying move. But still, I'm not sure he wants to do that, to be honest. In the magic phase, I got Breast Weapon, kill 2 Ferals, then Gravecold, kill another 7, and then with all the shooting, I kill 11. So basically, I kill 20 this turn, I think. So yeah, very good. He cannot engage me anymore with those Ferals, and I have followed the plan, trying to make a part of the map where I can really continue to attack with my blocks. And basically I got rid or deal with one of the blocks, or reduce them in a size that they are not a problem for me anymore. So that's quite nice. Let's continue his turn 3. So a couple of charges here. First of all, I just misplaced a bit the Titan, and I gave him a 19. My ID was a bit more than 19. So I misplaced slightly the Titan, and I also forgot that he had a spear banner. So in my mind, what should have been a 12 was actually a 10 Swift Stride, double Swift Stride. So definitely not what I wanted, but fortunately for me, he failed that charge. He got the Gnasher in the flank, which surprised me a bit, because if they go alone, I think there is a risk that it could give me a free pivot, basically. So we will see how that goes. Then he plays the fast cav to try, in case I would break those guys, to limit what I could do with my pivot. He triple charged my fast cav with Troll, a Chariot and a Wyvern. I was okay with that. And he also attempted the charge with the Giant onto my blunderbuss. I stand and shoot, did 1 wound. I didn't understand really that charge, to be honest. I think what he wanted to do is place the Giant and potentially overrun with Troll and Wyvern. But still, that will not be enough to break those guys that double up the rank if they get charged. So I will have a flank charge with Lugars and Anointed, and I think I can get rid of all the middle of the board. So I didn't felt so threatened by that. He failed the charge of the Giant, meaning I could have a flank charge with the Anointed and Lugars as well. And then he moved forward with those two units on the right, but like I said, they cannot chaff me. He elected to reposition his loner that did nothing until now, so reposition, he sees that's going to be pressure on the right, so he's going to try to support with the loners, but there is a lot of ground to cover until he finds a good position basically. And here with the failed charge, he's still quite far away from my charge of the Overlord, so it's not that much of a problem for him. In the magic phase, also he passed Frenzy on the right. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting because it was a Frenzy on 7 maximize. Maximize. And basically if he would have failed that, could have potentially forced him to charge stuff, which could have been really annoying for him. In the magic phase, he got Hereditary, I think on the Lugas, to make my charge of the Lugas harder. And then he got Savage Fury on his mage to protect himself for future combat. And I think with shooting he did 1 wound to my Bastion. He overran with the Troll onto my infantry block, which was expected, but just reform with the mage, I think, is due to the fact that he failed charge with the Giant. He rather have not this guy also overrunning. So that's it. This combat on the left, as you can see, he rolled what was expected, which is 2 wounds on Titan, and I went back and I killed like 6 total, so between the stomp, my attack and the grind, so nothing crazy here. He broke from combat, I restrained, turn around and get into a very interesting position like you will see. I charged with Titan onto the Troll. It was a charge on a 7 Swift Ride. Very interesting for me because I can get after that into the Chariot and unchargeable by those guys. So yeah, really happy to get that with Titan. The only downside, I cannot allow the cavalry to charge me in the flank, so I go into the forest with the Overlord, loses a wound, but if he charges me, I could go into a challenge, I should do fine. And if he doesn't, he can only go with the general alone into the Titan, which is not that crazy good. Then I elected to charge with the Anointed into his Giant and not the Lugas. As you can see, I cannot fit both, and I felt the Lugar alone, I wasn't sure to make it, so I elected not to charge with the Lugar, which I think it's a choice that is debatable. I could have also tried charge with the Lugas onto his Riven, but I think it was a 10, so I felt there is a huge risk in both cases that I would be misplaced with the Lugar and blocked. What I could have tried, and if I pass the Lugar into the Giant flank, I cannot contact with the Anointed, then get blocked and get rolled over by the Wrecking Team, so I felt no really good choices for the Lugar. That's why I just elected to push forward with them and then be ready to, if he counter-charge the Anointed and sticks, I can charge him. He's far away from BSB, so it's going to be an 8 minimize if I don't kill him. And if he sticks, then I can still counter-charge. I have plenty of stuff to do, so I felt that's the right choice. Here we engage. And yeah, the Overlord on the left I told you about. Here I stayed quite far away, ready to intercept something, and also covering the flank of the Bastion in case he wanted to charge me with the Grotlings. In the magic phase, also forgot to mention that last turn he could have potentially charged me with the Grotling in the flank to try to stick me. I think could have been a decent plan to try to pin down the Anointed and then roll over them with the Wrecking Team later on. But he elected not to do it and keep them for later. He had, I think, other ideas. In the magic phase, I'm going to get a Grave Call on the Shaman, and it's strength 6. I managed to do 3 wounds. Then I'm going to fail 1 spell, and I shoot onto the Shaman. He is in soft cover, but it's still 20 shot on 6 up, 4 up. And then he has only the ward save, and he passes 1 ward save, so he's still alive. On the right, so the Anointed combat will be a bit disappointing for me. I only managed to do 2 wounds with the Great Weapon, no wounds with the Impact. So it's not that crazy. I have a charge in the flank. He managed to do 3 wounds to me. I win combat by 1, but he sticks on the minimize 8. So yeah, not that great. Expected more from him. And down the middle, yeah, I do a good amount of wound on the Troll with the Titan. I overrun with the Titan, and I elected just to reform with those guys. I felt going into the mage is not that crazy good, and he hasn't so many good choices of charges. So I felt let's just reform, and yeah, I was also afraid that he could charge. Yeah, that's why. If I overrun with them or pursue with them, I could have been flank charged by those guys, and I didn't feel okay with that basically. Let's continue. So the Titan was in a position that the Feral block BSB couldn't charge me. So he charged me with the General, got the charge in the flank, was I think a 7. The Grotling on a 7 as well failed into the flank of the Bastion, and he failed Frenzy with his mage and had to charge he elected to charge the Bastion. I had no stand and shoot, he was too close for me. Here he counter-charged me with a block of Feral. He has an overrun, but that's in my front, so that's totally okay, and I have this unit covering everything, so I felt fine. Also forget to mention, he fled on double 6, and I didn't manage to catch him with the Titan that overrun into the flank of the Chariot. Here he just elected to turn around, and I couldn't see him with my Overlord, and the Loner continued his long march towards the right flank. Also, yeah, that was a bit of a problem for him, that the failed charge of also just the charge of the Grotling basically went through the Raking Team and delete the Raking Team. So that was a bit stupid, and just failed charge that way. Didn't saw that before, so yeah, that was a problem less for me. And now I have a flank charge with Vassal to get rid of the right flank. So that was a present for me. The fast cav moves around, try to be annoying in my backline. And the small mage is continuing to move alone. I think he dispelled last turn the pentagram. He doesn't want to get hurt, but at any time I could turn around and shoot him, so that's going to be risky for him to move around like that. I think he didn't rally, they continue to flee. In the magic phase, he's going to get Savage Fury on the Shaman. I don't care, to be honest, because I'm going to challenge and he's going to lose on static res. What else? He got Smite, -1 strength on the Titan with 3 dice against my 4 dice, so it's continuing to not be great in the dispelling phase. And that's it. Close combat, so very interesting combat. We have on the right the Anointed, I think got killed. I did a couple of wounds on the Giant, but either I think he killed me or pursued me and catch me with the Feral, but basically got me. The Giant just reforms. And here the combat in the middle. The Warlord will fluff his attack, only do 1 wound to my Titan, so not great. And then my Titan strikes before the Chariot, did 1 wound with the attack and 2 wounds with the Lash, which is actually the best outcome I could wish for, because I'm not killing the Chariot, meaning I get the charge, the flank and the big flank, so it's +3 combat result, while he only did 1 wound with the Warlord, and then the Chariot did another wound, meaning I win combat. I win combat by 2. So it's check on a 6, minimize rollable for both. The General will flee and the Chariot will stick. So that's something unexpected for me. Okay, quite nice. Let's continue. So I reform that way to basically make sure that next turn I can chaff his big block. So that's a good chaff from the Titan. Here we're stuck in combat. As you can see, 2 wounds remaining on his Giant. Charge here in the flank with the Vassal. Basically repositioning the Bastion to just shoot at the Giant. 2 wounds to do, that should be doable. And here I just chaff the Cavalry. I cannot allow the Cavalry to charge the Titan, so I just chaff them and position myself in a way that I'm going to see his Lord. If he rallies, I could go into that combat. And also I don't want him to go towards south because it's breaking flag. So if he moves down or I think breaking flags or breakthrough, I don't remember, but I think it's breaking flags. But anyway, if he turns around and moves south, I could see him no matter what. So I felt that should be totally fine for the Overlord. I doesn't want him to get any breakthrough. In the magic phase, I'm going to get a Mark for Doom, and I do 3 wounds to the Loner, so he has only 1 wound left. So that was lucky for me. Then I got a Grave Call with 4 dice against 4 dice, and I kill 8 Ferals. So again, that compensates for my early magic phase. This one was really, really nice. The Bastion did 1 wound to the Giant, but he's still alive. So that's Bastion, Fluff, the blue zone. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. I would have liked to get rid of the Giant. And then on the right, I did 4 wounds. He did 1 wound to me. He break. I pursue, but I didn't catch him. And I don't go that long, meaning the Giant is not chaffed. So that was again not expected. And those guys, I tried the overrun on a 7 to be in his deployment zone. Yeah, I think it's breakthrough. I told you at the beginning, so you should know at least. And I needed the overrun to get in on a 7 to be in the deployment zone, and then I could just chaff him and be sure that I get the secondary no matter what. But I'm going to get that way. No, it's breaking flag because I think, yeah, losing some big unit matters. Breaking flag, sorry. So I was here just in front of the troll. I rolled a 6, meaning he was able to get a triple charge, the giant in the flank, the trolls in the front, and the loner in the front. Those guys were not catch, so he was able to rally them. So because they had still full leadership. So I'm not getting any flags now. He charged me with the cavalry, charged the titan that has only 1 wound left. With the feral, he has no overrun into this unit. What else? Yeah, that's it. And here I got rid of him. So as you can see, I'm preparing some breakthrough here. He's far away from it. And at the moment on the flags, we took nothing from each other. And yeah, he's moving the fast cap, try to threaten my vassals, but I have a relentless, so I can move away and score easily, so that should be fine. Yeah, he took one of my anointed, so that's why. He has his 1 flag better than me at the moment. In the magic phase, he rally also the Gnasher, forgot to mention. Magic phase, I dispel -1 to hit, he got -1 strength on the Overlord. I'm going to kill the champion. I was going to stick that combat between the cavalry. And he is going to fluff completely on the Titan. Yeah, he had all these attacks. That's the stat of the unit and the champion on my Titan. And basically, he roll no wounds on the Titan, meaning I'm alive. I did a ton of damage this turn, and I'm going to strike again the next turn, meaning the BSB's unit will not do anything crazy anymore in this game. And here in the middle, I don't kill the giant. I don't kill the loner as well, I think. I do some wounds, but it doesn't roll that crazy. And I'm still here. I stuck, and then we stop here. My opponent elected to stop here because, yeah, here he's going to get another turn from Titan. And there is not so many feral left that he's going to achieve anything. Here I can just charge with the Lugar, kill the giant. The loner has only 1 wound left, could die at any moment. And is not going to have any enough combat power to get rid of me. Here I can then just reform the Lugars on my turn to be scoring on the next turn. So I'm going to get at least 2 breakthrough here, which is not going to be able to compensate. So that was too much, and we saw more or less what we wanted from the game. And it was already quite late, which happens sometimes with when you play during the week, or you have the work the next day. You're happy not to finish too late because it's going to be difficult. So we finish here. I don't know the exact score of it. Like I said, I was on the front for the secondary and also on the point, but it was nevertheless a very interesting game. So let's talk about that. Deployment, Surging Tides, a huge mistake for me. I should have dropped for first turn. I think that's something you should keep in mind with Surging Tides. If you don't have really more drops than your opponent and you don't get a huge advantage by seeing how it drops, I think you should drop for first turn. Overall, happy of the setup of the deployment. I think I took advantage from both the map, the footprint and so on, but I should have just deployed the Overlord more central to have more flexibility turn 1. I think not enough focus on breakthrough for Orc and Goblins. I could have potentially focused the cavalry a bit more on, I'm going to break through at least with the cavalry and then get more chance for the secondary. Turn 1 Orc and Goblin, yeah, first turn of being unlucky for him, annoying to get the chaff out of action. Like I said, turn 3 Orc and Goblin, I was happy not to get punished, lucky not to get punished by his charge. Should have made it 11 or 12. My initial ID was 12. I forgot about banner speed and then I just misplaced a bit the Titan. But it was still a risk for the Orc and Goblin because if he failed charge like he did, it gave a free pivot to the Titan that then was able to do crazy things in the middle that wouldn't have happened if he didn't charge with those Gnashers. Turn 4 Orc and Goblins. Dicey central combat, sorry. I could have been worse if I got the free pivot. Yeah, obviously, luckily for him, the chariot stuck at least. Only the general fled, but could have been even worse. But yeah, I was rather lucky to win that combat and lucky with the outcome to only suffer 1 wound, so definitely lucky here. The Grotling charge to support the flank of the Bastion, but was costly because got rid of the Wrecking Team and the Vassal were able to counter charge no matter what. I'm not sure it would have been enough to stick with the Bastion, to be honest. Would have only had a flank, but then it doesn't do much against my 3-up. So I'm not sure it would have do something significant this charge, to be honest. Turn 5 Infernal Dwarves, hard choice for the counter charge of the Lugars. And we can also question the fact that the Overlord chaff the cavalry. Was it really needed? I'm not so sure in which way. Yeah, it was still not that great combat. I think it's shaky then to see. I think the first turn, yeah, it did nothing to the Overlord, and then I stay in a minimized position, and then it's a bit the question now on turn 5 if I get rid of the cavalry. It's a flag. If he can countercharge me with his general, who wins that combat? So it's still dicey situation where I could have potentially avoided that, to be honest. Turn 5 Infernal Dwarf, not the best outcome for both combat for me. Yeah, basically the fact that the Lugars doesn't catch the flag, and then I don't overrun enough, and the giant can charge me in the flank. Didn't expect that. And the other combat, the Infernal Warrior failed the overrun on a 7, so I'm out of the deployment zone, but he can still triple charge me. So yeah, both were not that great, and were a bit scary for me. And yeah, turn 5 Orc and Goblin, I think unlucky for him to be stuck with the Titan, and meant that a lot of Feral were continue to die, and that was a huge issue because then he couldn't anymore be impactful in the middle, more, and it was even threatened that I could then push in front with the Bastion and try to do wounds on the turn 6 potentially. So that was, I think, for him quite annoying. So it was turn 5. Let me think about it. Yeah, turn 5 he didn't do that, so I couldn't shoot him. But I think it's just that he will have only like 10, 12 Feral left after the combat, and that's most likely not going to be enough to engage anything left. So that was it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching the battle report. Thanks to my opponent for the game. It was interesting practice. I learned a lot of things about Orc and Goblins, so I still need more practice, and also Surging Tides. So it's always good to get those training going. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon.